This is Effie Wild coming to you from my little disastrous studio. I've been working all day to get stuff up for Moonshine and had to do some admin stuff. I was supposed to go out with a friend for lunch, but that got preempted by work stuff. But because I did manage to eke out just a touch of time from that cancellation, I managed to sit down and get this book ready. So I wanted to walk you through it. Like a lot of us who are into the witchy stuff, I am really excited that spring is coming, and I like to start my spring off with 30 Days Magical Roots, which is a program put on by Plentiful Earth. They do theirs in June, I think, every year, but I like to do mine in March, just because it's spring. Spring is springing. So I went and printed out the checklist, and that means that once you put your email in to get the checklist, you also get their emails every day, which are really, really super helpful. And I created this Sweet Trash Journal. This is a Sweet Trash Journal. And I just I have like 19 pages left in this one, so I thought I would start a new one for this practice that I'm doing. So I'm using a Moleskine Gridded Cahier. This is the extra large. And I just wanted to walk you through how I'm going to put all this together. So I covered the inside front cover with some pretty paper and some washi tape. And then created space for an index here. And I'm leaving these 2 pages blank in case I need more space for index. I suspect I might need this and maybe this. And then I can put something pretty there, but we'll see. I just wanted to make sure that I left enough space. I covered the cover itself with, this was an old piece of what's called printed canvas from Donna Downey Studios, which I purchased about, I think, like 5 years ago. And never used, so it felt like it was appropriate with the pretty flowers on it. And then this is a piece of duct tape, and this is just a piece of scrap of paper to finish it off. I did the same on this inside back cover and left the folder intact so I can use this to store stuff. The front, again, is just for my index, and I think I might put an envelope here so that I can store this pamphlet that I made just by stapling these pieces together in an envelope in the front of the book. And then what I decided to do is every day I'm going to kind of bujo this thing because I'm new to bullet journaling and I need some practice. So I thought it might be fun to use this particular challenge for this particular new hobby of mine that I may or may not keep up with, you never know. But one of the best ways to create a habit is to have a project that you intend on following through on. So this is going to be my Let's Get Into Bullet Journaling project. I'll just show you. I started already last week with some things, and I don't expect to be perfect at this, but I do want to get somewhat adept with it. So this is my habit tracker. This is my tarot journal. This is my to-do stuff this week, and not everything is included on this list, but lots of it is. And then I use the Planner for a Magical Year from Coloring Book of Shadows by Amy Cesare in my journal as well. And this is a Sweet Trash Journal, guys. This is just my name for a junk journal. It's not really junk, it's more of an all of me kind of journal where I put photographs of things that are important to me, where I journal, where I paste images of art I've created in the various classes that I'm teaching. And then each month has its own little tab. And then each week has its own little tab. So I can keep track of where I am month to month. This comes as a free workshop in both Moonshine and Book of Days this year. And lots of people are doing this as a supplemental practice. So that's what this is. It's a Sweet Trash Journal that I have dedicated to the 30 Days of Magical Roots challenge. And what I'm liking about this is that the grid lets me like measure things out. Like I knew from measuring where I wanted to put that tarot card that I needed to print something out at 3 1/4 by 2 inches, and then I can set my printer to do that for me. So day 1 of the challenge was about divination. I just did the challenge, which is use your favorite form of divination to ask what should my focus be for this month. reflect on the themes of the reading, what speaks to you the most. So I pulled the Hermit, which is really cool because that is actually my soul and personality card. Made some notes about where I started in my divination journey way back in the late 1980s, and then where I want to head in my divination journey. This was the exercise. It's sort of an additional thing that came in the email from Plentiful Earth with a tarot reading designed by Aurora Moon. And so I just wrote out what each card means, like what each card signifies. And then I actually did the reading and photographed it, and again measured out how big a print I need to fill this little space down here, which was perfect. And then I've got some ideas that I had about divination as I was working on this. One is what it would be like to create a series of 13 paintings based on the Witches' runes, and see if I could create like an oracle deck of my own using those paintings. I could use those for art prompts as well as divination. And then here we have the Tree of Life Celtic Tree Astrology listing of who you are if you fall under each of these trees in the Celtic Tree Calendar. And then I had an idea that it might be fun to do a simplified Ogham stave sort of study, so that I could just start with the 13 staves of the Celtic Tree Calendar to really nail that system into my head before I moved on to all of the rest of the staves. I think there are 25 or 26 staves in the Ogham divination system. Now, Ogham is not actually, it's spelled this way, it's not pronounced this way, it's pronounced Om or Om, but everyone goes, what if I say that? So I'm just going to pronounce it like it's spelled. And then this is the Elder Futhark runic system that I'm already quite familiar with. I used to actually keep a journal in this alphabet because of issues with an ex-boyfriend who was reading my journals when I was living with him. So I'm pretty familiar with this, but I haven't really used it as a divination system. It would be really fun, I think, as a project. You can see this page isn't finished, but it would be really fun as a project to go through each of the runes, to really hone in on their key sort of meanings. Do a series of paintings based on those key meanings. Include the runes somewhere in the painting, and then you would have your own sort of rune oracle deck that was created based on the runes, but with a little bit more, what's the word I'm looking for? Like complicated imagery. So this is how I'm going to work the challenge. And I'm not going to be coming back and showing you every day because I have enough to do. But lots of folks in Moonshine are going to be joining me for this challenge. We're really honing in on divination this month as our theme. And we also are building a daily practice in Moonshine. That's kind of the focus of the class Moonshine 2018, is to use art and other craft to develop spiritually. And so it's called Moonshine because we're sort of cycling from new moon to new moon. So I decided that we are going to, as an optional challenge this month, undertake the 30 Days Magical Roots challenge as a group. And I just wanted to really do a video to show them how I'm going to do it. And then that keeps me really honest and accountable. As soon as I say to a group of people who are paying me, as soon as I say, this is optional, but I'm doing this thing, I tend to actually follow through on it. It's just the way that I work. My integrity would not have it any other way. So I will be doing my best to keep up with the 30 Days Magical Roots challenge. The link to the challenge is beneath this video, as well as a link to check out Moonshine if you are so inclined, just as a sort of general idea of what we're doing in Moonshine. Twice a month I come to you with a new tutorial. The one tutorial is time-lapse. This was time-lapsed, and this was an intention spread meant to be done on the new moon in January. This was a full-length tutorial meant to be done on the full moon in January, the very last full moon in January. This was new moon in February, and this was full moon in March. And the other paintings that you see are from the other programs that I teach. This is for Mixtape Monthly, which I do over on my Patreon. This is an example of a Book of Days multi-day spread, or MDS, that I demonstrated for Book of Days. This was for Book of Days. This was for Mixtape Monthly. This was for Book of Days, and this was for Book of Days. So this journal is going to get filled up with all of the stuff that I'm teaching this year, including Lifebook and other things as they come up throughout the year. So I'm really excited that I have two different practices. You know, this practice is very sort of art. It's all arty. This practice is a lot more random and junky. Lots and lots of written journaling, my planner, my moon stuff, my month stuff, tarot stuff, all that stuff goes in here. But because I didn't have any room at all, like there were only like 18 or 19 pages at the end of this book, I decided to start a new one just for the Magical Roots Challenge. And then if I don't manage to fill it up, I mean, this is only 30 days long. I probably won't fill this up. We'll have to see. Then I will just continue in my spiritual journey in this journal until it's full up, and then I'll probably move back into doing everything in the same journal like I always do. So that is just a quick video to walk you through what I was up to today and what I'll be doing in March. If you're in Moonshine and you're doing this along with me, obviously, I'd love for you guys to share if you're doing any kind of bullet journaling or any kind of journaling, art journaling, or whatever you're doing with the challenge. I would love to see it in our Facebook group. And for anyone else, if you want to say hi, the comments are open below. Lots of love. Bye!